Counsel, please stipulate to the return of our jurors.
Steve will stipulate, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Stipulates, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'll ask the state to please call its next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. State would call Dimitrios Arfanis to the stand.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please step up into the witness box, remain standing. The clerk is going to put you under oath. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please raise your right hand, sir. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury? If so, please say I do.
I do.
Please state your full name, spelling your last name, and address for the record, sir.
Dimitrios Arfanis, Arfanis, 40 Secret Circle, Stratford, Connecticut.
Thank you.
You may be seated. Thank you.
Dimitrios, do us a favor. Just sit close to the microphone, speak loudly. These ladies and gentlemen need to hear you, okay?
All right.
Is it Dimitrios or Dimitri?
The full name is Dimitrios, but I go by Dimitri.
Okay. Do you mind if I call you Dimitri?
That's fine, yeah.
Dimitri, how old are you?
I'm 20.
And do you go to school?
I do.
Where do you go to school?
Clemson in
And what
South
year-
Carolina.
And what year are you?
I'm going into my junior year.
And do you know why you're here today?
I do.
And why are you here today?
To talk about what happened back in May 2022.
And have you and I met before
We have.
concerning this case?
Yeah.
Now, directing your attention to May 14th of 2022, how old were you back then?
I was 17.
And were you in school?
I was
What school were you in?
St. Joseph's High School
And where's St. Joseph's located?
in Trumbull.
And are you familiar with an individual by the name of Jack Schneider?
I am.
How are you familiar with him?
We went to the same school.
And are you familiar with an individual by the name of Tyler Desilva?
I am.
And how are you familiar with him?
We also went to the same school.
And are you familiar with an individual by the name of Raul Valle?
I am.
And how are you familiar with him?
Went to the same school.
Is Raul Valle present in the courtroom today?
He is.
And what is he wearing?
A blue suit.
And can you please point him out for the record? Your Honor, may the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant in this case?
Record will reflect that the witness has identified Mr. Valle. Thank you.
Now, Dimitri, does the defendant have a nickname that he goes by?
We called him Lido.
And I want to direct your attention to that day, May 14th, 2022. Sometime earlier in the night, did you attend a party at 5 Lazy Brook Road?
I did.
Can you please tell us the circumstances surrounding you attending that party?
I went to have a good night with my friends.
And were you invited there?
Yeah, I believe so.
Who invited you?
The lifer, Austin lifer.
And when you got there, what time of day do you think it was?
It was probably like 9 o'clock.
So it was nighttime?
Yes, sir.
And when you got there, what kinds of things were happening at the Lifer household?
People were just drinking, having a good time, talking, catching up.
And when you say drinking and having a good time, what were the things that people were drinking?
Beer, alcohol.
And were you drinking that night?
I was.
How much did you have to drink?
Not that much. Few drinks.
What were you drinking?
Beer, I'd say.
So you had about 2 beers maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. And at some point in time, did you become aware of individuals from Shelton High School that arrived at the Lifer household?
I found out after the fact. I
Okay.
never saw him.
So tell me the circumstances surrounding when you were there, what was going on, and then after the fact when you found out something had happened there.
So I was just in the basement, and I found out that some kids had gotten in a fight, but I didn't see it or anything.
Where were you when the fight happened?
I was in the basement.
And do you know who the fight was between?
Not sure, nah.
Not sure, okay. I'm going to show you this exhibit. I want you to tell me if you recognize anybody. State's Exhibit 53. Do you recognize anybody in this photo?
Yeah.
Who do you recognize?
Jack Schneider and Lido Valley.
Okay, which one is Jack Snyder?
In the red hoodie.
And which one's Lido?
In the blue Ole Miss t-shirt.
And you recall seeing the defendant dressed like this on May 14th of 2022?
I do.
And was he dressed like this the entire time he was at Lazy Brook?
The helmet wasn't always on, but for the most part, yeah.
So he was there with Jack?
Yeah.
Was Tyler Desilva also there?
Yes.
Now, tell us about how long were you there at Lazy Brook before you left?
Like an hour.
You were there for like an hour? And why did you leave Lazy Brook?
The mom kicked everyone out.
Okay. And When did you become aware that a fight had occurred at Lazy Brook?
Towards the end.
Towards the end?
Yeah.
Do you recall who told you?
No.
What? Do you recall everybody that was at that party that night?
No.
Is it safe to say they were all St. Joe's students?
Yeah.
Now, at some point in time, well, let me ask you this. How did you get to Lazy Brook?
My other friend drove me, but he left.
Which friend was that?
My friend Mickey.
Mickey?
Yeah.
Was he also Keenan's ride home?
Yes.
And why was he going to bring you and Keenan home?
Because we didn't want to drive, and he offered to drive us.
Were you supposed to go straight home that night?
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
Back to Keenan's.
I'm
I was,
sorry?
I was sleeping at Keenan's that night.
okay. And so Mickey left?
Yes.
When did Mickey leave? Do you recall?
Right when we got there. He didn't go in the house.
Okay. And he never came back to pick you up?
No.
And when the party got broken up that night, did you have a ride home when they kicked you out?
No.
So what did you do for a ride home?
Keenan told me that Jack had offered to drive us home.
So did you go, in fact, get into Jack's car?
Excuse me?
Did you go with Jack that night?
Yes.
What kind of car was Jack driving that night?
A Honda Pilot.
Showing you State's Exhibit 30. Is that Jack's car?
It is.
And did you get into Jack's car with other people?
I did.
Who else was in the car with you when you were getting ready to leave Lazy Brook?
It was Jack, Tyler, Will, Keenan, Lito, Mackenzie, and myself.
Now you say Mackenzie. Who's Mackenzie?
It was Lito's girlfriend
At the time?
at the time, yeah.
And you know her how?
It's just same school. We just mutual people.
And you say Will. Will who?
Will Sinjwald.
And how do you know Will?
Again, we went to the same school.
So it was you, Keenan, Lito, Tyler, Jack, Mackenzie, and Will. Right? Did I say Will twice?
Correct. I think so. Will twice. Yeah.
All right. So when you left Lazy Brook, withdrawn, prior to leaving Lazy Brook, did you become aware of a group chat that had started concerning the fight that happened at Lazy Brook?
No.
Now are you aware that there was a group chat that had happened that night?
I was aware when we were at Trumbull High, but not at Lazy Brook.
Okay. So at some point in time, when you left Lazy Brook, where did you go?
To Trumbull High.
And why did you guys go to Trumbull High School?
We were trying to find like another place to go to, just to continue our night, and that was kind of like the closest spot.
And when you got to Trumbull High School, did you meet anybody there?
There was one other car there, yeah.
And who was there? Do you recall?
I don't know them.
Do you recall if they were girls or boys?
Girls.
Girls. And when you got to Trumbull High School, did you get out of Jack's car?
We did.
And when you got out of Jack's car, where did you go?
We just went to a fence or the bathroom.
Okay. Oh, you walked away from the car?
Yeah.
And when you were walking away from the car, were there people that stayed at the car?
I'd imagine, yeah.
Were you with anybody when you walked away from the car?
Yeah, I don't remember who though.
Okay. How long would you say you were at Trumbull High School for?
Like 20 minutes, not that long.
After 20 minutes had come and gone, did you leave Trumbull High School?
We did.
Why did you leave Trumbull High School?
I guess Jack and Tyler were talking to these kids, and they were driving to their house.
So when you were leaving Trumbull High School, you were aware that the car was headed towards another house?
Yes.
Do you know what purpose that was for?
I did, yeah. They were having an issue with these other kids.
And when they were going to the house, do you know why they were going to the house?
To like go talk to them,
And why did they want? Do you know why they wanted to talk to them
to settle like the dispute or the issue that had occurred prior.
at Lazy Brook?
Yeah.
So when you were headed over, did you in fact leave Trumbull High School and head over to that house?
Yes.
Do you recall whose house that was or where it was?
No, I was in the trunk.
You were in the trunk?
Yeah. So I didn't see any like where we were going or anything.
Could you so it was dark out, you couldn't see where you were going?
Yeah.
So who was driving the car when you left Trumbull High School?
Jack Schneider.
Do you recall who was in the front passenger seat?
Howard Desilva.
And who was in the back seat?
Behind the driver was Lito, and Mackenzie was on his lap. And then it was Will in the middle and Keenan behind the passenger seat, and I was in the way back.
So you were in the way back. So in the way back of this exhibit here, you were seated in that trunk area. Okay. So do you recall, let me show you States 49, do you recall if this is the house that you pulled up to after you left Trumbull High School?
Yeah.
And there's a State's Exhibit 1 behind you. Do you recall how you arrived at that house? If the red mark is 43 Laurel Glenn, do you recall how you came into the neighborhood?
Yeah.
Can you show us?
We went down the road and did like a U-turn and came back to be facing Farmhouse Lane.
Okay, and did you stop in front of the house? Where did you stop?
Well, we did the U-turn, then we stopped in front of the house.
Okay, can you show us on States 49 where you stopped? Can you describe it?
We stopped like right before the driveway starts,
Okay.
a little farther from the curb.
So would you have been on the right side of the road or the left side of the road? Looking at States 49.
Closer to the middle, I'd say.
So, and you said before the driveway, would it be on the lower portion of 49 or the upper portion?
The lower.
So you were somewhere, if I put my finger here, is this about where you recall stopping the car?
Yeah.
Okay, so if the record can reflect, Your Honor, on States 49, my finger is pointed to the middle of Laurel Glen, just to the left of where the trees are, from the house across the street from 43 Laurel Glen, just above the intersection of Adams and Laurel Glen.
Court will allow the record to reflect.
And when you stopped there, did you notice if anybody was outside at 43 Laurel Glen?
There was a few kids outside.
Few kids? Did you know any of those kids?
No.
At the time, did you know whose house this was?
No.
And when you stopped there, were you aware as to whether or not people from your car were communicating with people from that house through the group chat?
I knew they were texting, yeah.
And do you know the things that were being texted?
No.
Do you recall whether or not anybody indicated that you had arrived at the house?
I'm sure, yeah.
And at some point in time, did people come out of the house?
They were already out when we got there.
But did more people come out?
Yeah, they kept flowing in.
And when people came out of the house, tell us what happened when they came out of the house.
They just started talking with Jack and Tyler.
So they approached the car?
Yeah.
How many people approached the car, do you think, at that point?
Like 8, 9.
Okay. And Jack rolled down his window?
Yeah.
And they were talking with Jack?
Yeah. And Tyler.
And Tyler?
Yeah, they were all talking.
So on the other side of the vehicle also?
I'm not sure about that, but they were talking.
Or talking through the...
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. How would you describe, not what was said, but how would you describe the conversation between Jack, Tyler, and the people outside the car?
It was pretty peaceful at first. Just talking.
And at some point, did it become not peaceful?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Somebody said something, I don't know what, and then Jack said something back. Again, I don't remember exactly the words. And then people started like hitting the car, throwing stuff at the car, and like I was in the trunk, so I saw some kid jumping on the back of the car up and down, shaking it. And then Jack drove off, and they were still like throwing stuff at the car.
Okay. And when Jack drove off, where did he drive to?
Down the street near Farmhouse.
And when he got towards, so down towards Farmhouse, where can you show us on States 1 where did he stop the car?
Yes.
Where did he stop the car? Show me.
Like a few houses down.
Okay. So if I can approach the witness, Your Honor, do a point to them. So can you point to where you believe the car stopped?
Like about here.
And when the car stopped there, what happened when the car stopped there?
At first, some like kids approached the car from the house, and they were talking with like with Tyler and Lito again, and I think we drove off more, and then everybody got out of the car, and we like looked around the car.
So you go down the street. You have 30, 44. You go down the street. Do people get out of the car initially?
Yeah,
Who gets out of the car initially?
Tyler and Lito,
Okay. And then what happens?
and then they were talking with some kids again, and then we drive farther down the street, and then everybody gets out the car and looks at the car.
Okay. And I'm going to show you States 44. Just play the, play the Those, do you remember this? Is this when people initially got out of the car?
Yeah.
The person that got out of the front passenger seat, do you know who that was?
No.
You don't know who that was?
I just can't tell, no.
You can't tell from the video, but who was sitting in the front passenger seat when you drove down?
Tyler.
Tyler
Yeah.
Desilva? And when he got out of the car, do you recall what he did when he got out of the car?
No.
No. So, again, Stage 44, does this fairly depict what happened when you initially went down the road?
Yes.
And at some point in time, some kids come down the road? Tell us about what happens when the kids come down the road.
I don't know. I didn't see that.
You didn't see
I
that?
saw it, but I didn't like hear what was going on.
So you were still in the car when
Yes.
the car took off a little
Yeah.
bit further? At some point in time, did you get out of the car?
I did, yes.
When you got out of the car, were there still kids from the Shelton house down the street?
No.
So between the time you were in the car and the time you got out, did you observe any interactions that were going on between the Shelton kids and Tyler and the defendant?
No.
Okay. So you can't tell us if they were peaceful or argumentative?
No.
Can you tell us if there was any physical fight that happened down the street?
Not that I saw, no.
Do you recall whether or not seeing anybody from the Shelton kids from the time you were in front of 43 Laurel Glenn to the time the car went down the street, did any of them brandish any weapons?
No.
And when you got down the street, eventually everybody got out of the car?
Yes.
And they were inspecting the car?
Yes.
Tell me about that. What was going on when people were inspecting the car?
So we all get out the car. We look and see that there was some dents and stuff and scratches from how they were hitting it and throwing stuff. And then the defendant asked for a knife.
So tell me about that. When did that happen in relation to looking at the car?
That, like, right when he saw the car.
And how was the defendant reacting when he was inspecting the car?
Pretty upset.
How upset? Explain. Describe it to me.
He, like, was, like, yelling.
What was he yelling?
I don't remember the exact words.
Was he cursing?
I don't remember.
Did he act like he was peaceful?
No.
Did he act more upset than Jack and Tyler?
Yes, in the moment.
Based on the way the defendant was reacting, did it appear that how did it appear? Did he want to go and talk to those kids?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Did the defendant say anything with regards to wanting to go back and talk to those kids?
Yeah.
What did he say?
I don't remember the exact words, but it was like, let's go back.
And did it appear that he was acting in an aggressive manner?
Yes.
How did he appear? How was he acting?
He was mad. He was, like, yelling and stuff. I don't remember the exact words that he was saying.
And at what point did he ask for the knife?
Right after we went out the car and inspected it, the damage.
Do you recall who he asked for the knife?
I think it was Jack.
And do you recall whether or not a knife was given to him or found?
No.
Did you ever see a knife that night?
No.
After the defendant asked for the knife, how long was this inspection and asking for the knife going on for?
A few minutes.
A few minutes? At some point in time after the defendant asks for the knife, what happens after that?
The defendant, Jack, and Tyler get back in the car and drive back down to the house.
And at this point in time, it's just the three of them in the car?
Yes.
So where are you, Will, Keenan, and Mackenzie?
We're still on the side of the curb by the other house I just pointed out.
So are you on the curb? So if I point to States 1 here, this has been previously identified as 36 Laurel Glenn. Are you on the side of the curb here somewhere? Or are you on this side of the road? Do you recall what side of the road you're on?
We're on this side of the road, like around here.
Okay. And you waited there?
Yes.
Why did you wait there?
Because I don't want to go back.
Why didn't you want to go back?
Because I don't want to get in a fight with these kids that I don't know.
So at some point in time, the car leaves.
Yes.
Do you hear what goes on down the other end of the street?
All I heard was some people screaming.
And how long do you think the car was down the other end of the street?
Not that long, like 5 minutes.
And when we're talking about the other end of the street, are we talking about going back towards 43 Laurel Glenn, or are we talking going the other way when you say go down the street?
They go back down to the house that we were at.
So, so this states 49. They go back to this house?
Yes.
Did you see the car stop in front of the house from where you were seated?
No,
How do you know that they were down there?
I assume so.
Okay. And they were down there for 5 minutes, you said? And you heard screaming?
Yes.
Now, when you were waiting down the other end near Farmhouse Road or down the other end of Laurel Glen, did you have a ride home at that point?
No.
Did you have an idea of how you were going to get home at that point?
No.
At some point in time after 5 minutes passes, does the car return?
Yes.
And when the car returns, tell me about that. What happens?
The car returned, and we didn't have a ride, and we were about to get back in the car to leave, and I see Tyler all beat up and bloody. He could, like, barely form words. And at the same moment, she'd called her sister previously, and her sister drove up, and Mackenzie told us to get in her car.
So did you get in Mackenzie's car?
Yes.
And who else got in Mackenzie's car?
At first, only me and Keenan, and then Lito also got in the car.
And when Lito got in the car, did you have an opportunity to observe him?
Not really, no.
And on the ride home, who got dropped off first?
Me and Keenan.
And on the ride home, after you got dropped off, were you made aware of what had happened down the street at some point in time?
A lot later, yeah.
And when you were made aware later of what had happened, did the police contact you?
Not right away, no. It was a few days after.
A few days after? And did you in fact go to speak to the police?
I did.
Do you remember if you spoke to them on more than one occasion?
I did.
And when you spoke to the police, did you tell them exactly what you told us here today?
I did.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Attorney Smith?
Good afternoon, Mr. Arfanis.
Good afternoon.
We've never met before.
We have not.
We've never discussed this case before.
We have not.
Did you say that you are going to Clemson University
I am.
in South Carolina?
I am.
You were telling us about this evening, and I want to ask you a few questions about that, okay?
All right.
You started off the evening at 5 Lazy Brook, right?
Correct.
And you were invited there by Austin Leifer.
Correct.
Did you see Austin there that night?
I did.
Did you see him ill, throwing up outside?
I did not.
When you saw him, did he appear to be ill?
He was drunk, yeah.
Okay. Anybody else appear to be drunk there that night?
I assume most people were drinking. I wouldn't say anybody was out of the ordinary.
Okay. You said people were drinking, having a good time. There was beer and some alcohol. You didn't have that much to drink yourself,
Did not.
but you had arranged to have a ride home because you didn't want to be drinking and driving. Is that fair to say?
Correct, yeah.
You never saw these other kids that arrived and the fight went down
Never,
with?
no.
But you did see Mr. Schneider and Mr. Valle and Mr. Desilva there, right?
I did.
You didn't see them fight with anybody there.
I did not.
And you were there for about an hour, you told us.
Correct.
And then Mama Leifer kicked everybody out.
She did.
And you told us you were driven there by Mickey?
Correct.
Is his name Mickey or Michael? Is Mickey a nickname?
Mickey, yeah.
And you were supposed to go straight to Keenan's, right?
After, yeah.
Because that's where you were going to spend the
That's
night,
where I
right?
was sleeping, correct.
And the plan was that you were going to stay at the 5 Lazy Brook Road party, and that was going to last until the end of the night, and then at the end of the night you were going to go home to Keenan's.
Correct.
Okay. And so now you've been left in the lurch because the party has ended before it was supposed to, right?
Yes,
But you get a ride from Jack Snyder.
I did.
Okay? And you hop into that car with 6 other people, right? It's you, Jack, Tyler Desilva, Will Sinjwald, Raul Valle, Mackenzie Traficante, and Keenan Frasick, right?
Correct, yeah.
And as far as the positions in the car, you told us Jack Schneider was driving, Tyler Desilva was the front passenger.
Yes.
In the back seat on behind the driver was Raul Valle, correct?
Correct.
In his lap was Mackenzie Traficante, right?
Correct.
Beside him was Will Sinjwald, correct?
Correct.
And to the right, farthest, behind the passenger, close to the door, that was Keenan Frasick, right?
Yes.
And you got stuck in the back in the trunk, right?
I did.
Was there anything back there with you in the trunk, or was it just you?
It was some stuff. I don't remember what. It was like some bats.
Some bats.
Like for softball, I think he had a sister.
Okay. Did those stay in the car the whole time?
They did.
And because the night had ended earlier than expected, you guys went to Trumbull High School, right?
Correct.
In order to try and figure out if there was something else that you could do that night.
Yes.
And when you got there, there were some girls there. Do you recall that there was also another car there, a BMW, a white BMW with maybe 2 other guys in it?
Not really, no.
You don't recall that?
No. I just remember the one car.
I'm sorry?
The one car, because they were parked right next to us.
Parked right next to you. And when you got out of the car, you said you went to use the bathroom?
I did.
Were you, after you used the bathroom, you were there for another 20 minutes or so?
I'd say so, yeah.
Were you with Keenan the whole time?
Well, I was with everyone, not just Keenan.
Okay. You, Keenan, Will,
Lido, Jack, Tyler, Mackenzie.
all in a group together?
Yeah.
You don't recall splitting up and some people going one place, some people going another?
No.
Did you see Keenan drinking that night?
I don't remember him specifically drinking, but I knew he was just from, being at a party with him.
Okay. And it was Keenan who told you that Jack Snyder had offered the ride, right?
Yes.
Were you concerned at all getting in that car with Jack Snyder?
No.
Were you concerned getting in that car that Tyler Desilva and Raul Valle were in there?
No.
You said his nickname is Lido. Do you know what that nickname means?
No.
That's not a nickname that he had been given by you or other kids at the school?
No, that's what I was introduced to him as freshman year.
Gotcha. And you said while you were at Trumbull High School, you became aware of this group chat that was going on, right?
Yeah.
You weren't a part of that group chat?
No.
How did you become aware of the group chat?
Just from them talking about it.
When you say them talking about it, Jack Snyder?
Jack and Tyler, yeah.
Jack and Tyler. And you were in the back, in the trunk.
Correct.
So you could hear what Jack and Tyler were talking about up in the front of the car?
Parts and pieces, yeah. Not like, I knew they were talking in this group chat. I couldn't really get a grasp of exactly what they were talking about though.
Was this talking that you're describing, was this going on in the car, or was this while you were at Trumbull High School in the parking lot?
In the car at Trumbull High.
Okay. But when you were there at Trumbull High, you all got out of the car at some point?
I don't know if everyone got out. I got out.
You got out. Did you get out of the car, everybody stayed in the car, and then you came back to the vehicle?
It wasn't just me getting out the car.
Okay.
Multiple people got out the car. I just don't remember exactly who.
Okay. Ultimately, you weren't able to find another place to go as far as you knew, right?
Yeah.
And did you think when you got back into the vehicle, ultimately to leave Trumbull High School, that you were going to go to Keenan Frasick's house at that point?
I don't remember.
At some point, though, you told us you became aware that, in fact, you were not going to Keenan Frasick's house, right?
Yeah.
And you thought that you were going to, Jack was driving this vehicle because Jack and Tyler were talking with these other kids and wanted to go talk to them to settle a dispute, right?
Yeah.
And so, how long did that drive take to get from Trumbull High School to where you've described the car ultimately stopping at Laurel Glenn Drive?
10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Not for sure though.
Any drinking going on in the car while that's happening?
I don't remember.
Loud music being played in the car?
I'd imagine, yeah.
You'd imagine or you remember it? I don't want you to imagine anything.
When we would drive, we'd have music on, so I don't know why it'd be any different.
Okay. Do you recall whether or not there was loud music being played?
Yeah.
Loud enough that you couldn't hear what was going on up in the front of the car?
Yeah, I wasn't talking to anyone.
Okay, you were just sitting in the back?
Yeah.
Did you see the vehicle being followed by a white BMW?
I don't remember that now.
And then I think you described on Exhibit 1 there, if you look behind you, can you see Exhibit 1?
I can.
Okay, and the vehicle came down Adams Drive and went up to the end of the cul-de-sac and turned around?
That's not how I remember it. I remember
How do you-
driving down past the house on Laurel Glenn and then doing a U-turn.
Oh, okay, can you use the pointer there and show us what you recall?
I think that we went down here and did like a U-turn around here, and it came back down that way.
Okay, and ultimately the car came to a stop initially in front of Tyler Rich's house, 43 Laurel Glen Drive, right?
Yes.
And you said when the car came to a stop, or let's back up just a second. As you drove by the first time before taking the U-turn, did you look into the yard of 43 Laurel Glen?
I did.
And you could already see people out there, right?
Yeah.
Did it seem like they were waiting and expecting you to come?
Yeah. They knew we were coming.
They knew you were coming. How many people did you see?
That's speculative. Has to be
Sustained.
stricken.
Sustained. I'm going to strike the response to the question that was asked by the attorney, that they knew that they were coming. Okay, so please strike that from the evidence. Thank you.
You could see the people in the yard?
I could.
From their demeanor, did they appear to be surprised to you that the car was there?
No.
And how many people did you see in the yard?
Like 8 or 9.
Could it have been more?
It could have, yeah. People kept flowing in afterwards, too, so more people came out after we got there.
Did the crowd quickly grow?
Yeah.
And how many people ultimately would you say were there?
I couldn't give you like a number, but it was more than 8 or 9 at the end.
Okay. And they started to swarm the car, right?
Initially, not aggressively. They just came up to the car to talk.
Okay, that was the initial 8 or 9 or more than that?
The initial, like 8 or 9.
And when they came up to the car to talk, they came up as a group?
They did, yeah.
And were they all on one side of the car or did they surround the car?
I think it was surrounded, yeah.
Okay. And where was your attention focused at that point?
I was looking like towards the house through like the little window in the back.
All right. So not through the very rear window you're saying, but through a side window that was looking at the house?
Yeah.
Okay. And as you were watching that, you saw this initial group approach the vehicle, correct?
Correct.
And you were watching and you could see more people coming behind, correct?
Yes.
And those people were also coming at the car, correct?
Yes.
And you said that some of those people started talking with Jack Schneider and Tyler Desilva, right?
Correct.
Do you know who those people were?
No, never met him.
Okay, these people were all strangers to you that were at the 43 Laurel Glen Drive?
Yeah, all of them.
And you described that the conversation was peaceful at first.
It was.
Could you hear what was being said?
Not really, no, but I know it was in an aggressive manner.
Were the windows in the vehicle up or down?
Jack's was definitely down. I don't know about the rest.
Did any of the people in the back seat just in front of you, did any of them get out of the car?
No, not
Were-
in the beginning. When we drove down afterwards.
Okay, let's focus on where we are right now, just in front of the house,
All
okay?
right.
None of them got out of the vehicle at that point?
Nobody, no.
Okay. And you described that eventually the conversation was peaceful at first, but then it became less peaceful, shall we say?
Yeah.
Okay. And that was because the folks that came out of 43 Laurel Glen said something, you're not sure what,
I'm not.
and then Jack said something back, you said.
Yeah.
Do you know what Jack said back?
No.
Was Tyler saying anything back?
At that point, they both started talking back and forth more aggressively with the people outside. I don't remember exact words.
Was Mr. Valle talking with anybody outside the car?
Not really, no.
Will Sinjwal talking with anybody outside the car?
No.
Keenan Prasic talking to
No.
anybody outside the car? At this point, were there people on all sides of the vehicle?
Yeah.
And people started hitting the car?
Yes.
People started throwing stuff at the car?
Yes.
Could you hear things shatter or smash?
Yes.
You saw a kid on the back of the car.
Yes, jumping up and down.
He was just on the other side of where you were seated in the trunk?
Yeah,
Just one kid, a few kids?
just one.
Okay. How long did that go on for?
Like a minute, and then Jack drove off.
How did you feel back there?
It wasn't a fun experience.
You're scared,
Yeah,
terrified.
sure.
And eventually the car drove off, you told us.
It did.
And that vehicle is this vehicle that we see here in State's Exhibit 30, right?
Correct.
And when you got in the vehicle that night, it did not have this defect on the front windshield, did it?
It did not.
Did you ever see anybody reach into the driver's side window?
I did not.
Did you ever see anybody lean in their upper half of their body into the driver's side window and struggle with Jack Schneider?
I did not know.
Are you certain that people were surrounding the car and jumping on it?
Yes.
The car drove off and stopped. I think you've described it as being just a little bit before 36 Laurel Glenn Drive there. Can you point it out to us? Do you have the pointer there?
Like right here.
In that area, okay. And that's what we saw on the video that was played for you, Exhibit 44?
Yes.
And there were 3 people that we saw get out of the vehicle at that point, right?
I thought it was just 2, but
Did you see one person get out and walk ahead of the vehicle and then 2 people remain behind the vehicle, sort of?
I saw 2 people for sure. I don't remember a third now.
Okay. There were only 7 of you in the car, though, right?
Correct, yeah.
You didn't pick anybody else up at any other point?
No.
None of the folks from Trumbull High School got in your car and rode with you?
No.
Okay. And when those people got out, you were still in the trunk area?
Correct.
And you saw in the video that people came chasing down the street, right?
Yes.
Do you recall seeing them do that while you were in the car?
Yes.
And do you recall things being thrown at the vehicle while that happened?
Yes.
Could you hear what was being shouted from inside the car?
No.
And when that car got out, and we saw that on the video in 44, you think that was Tyler Desilva and Raul Valle who got out of the vehicle?
Correct.
Do you think there was another person who also got out of the vehicle?
I only remember 2 people getting out.
Okay. Those people got out, and then the car continued on down the road, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So when that vehicle stopped there where you showed us before, and those people got out, can you point to that again for us?
Like right here.
Okay. And then the car, you remained in the vehicle, and it drove forward.
Correct.
It came to a stop again.
It did.
Can you show us where it came to a stop again?
Probably like around here. Not that far down.
Not that far down, but in front of that house there?
Yeah.
And then you've described yourself as getting out of the car at that point.
Yes.
You went and sat where?
By the curb, like along this curb here.
Close on the side of that house again?
Yes, on this side of the, not this side.
And where did the vehicle stop at that point?
Same spot. Like
Same spot?
Yeah.
In front of that house?
Correct.
But we don't see it on that video when it does that.
What do you mean?
That you just watched, Exhibit 44, the video where the people get out of the vehicle?
Yes.
And we didn't see that vehicle come to a stop and you get out. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I did not get out then.
Those folks that had chased the car, did they continue to follow it as it went down the road with you still in it?
No.
Where did they go?
They went back to the house.
Okay. They didn't ever come down and talk to any of the people that were down there?
No. They, like I said, they came up to talk to Tyler and Lito. They did not come back when I got out the car, though. They were nowhere near me.
Okay. So when you're sitting on the curb and the vehicle is stopped by the intersection of Farmhouse Lane and Laurel Glenn Drive, you're sitting over there with Keenan Prasick, Will Sinjwald, and Mackenzie Traficante?
Correct.
And the 4 of you are sitting close together, right?
Yes.
How far away was the vehicle from you at that point?
A few steps.
Just a few steps?
Yeah, not far at all.
It didn't move from that position?
No.
And this conversation that you've described as being had between the Shelton High kids and Mr. Valle and Mr. Desilva, that had already occurred at that point before you got out of the vehicle yourself.
Yeah.
And you say that those kids all went back to the house. You didn't see them anymore.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Mr. Valle and Mr. Desilva, at least, and maybe one other person that we saw in the video who you're not sure it is, they had already gotten out of the car before you got out of the car.
Correct.
And before Mackenzie and before Will and before Keenan got out of the car, correct?
Yes.
But Jack was still driving the vehicle at that point.
Yeah.
So Jack drove up and parked the vehicle, correct?
Correct.
And then Mr. Valle and Mr. Silva came walking down to the vehicle?
Yeah.
And you could see all of these people?
Mm-hmm.
Which way was the vehicle facing at that point?
Still facing down this way, like it was facing that way.
It was facing towards Farmhouse Lane.
Yeah.
You were looking at the rear of the vehicle where you had previously been sitting.
Yeah.
How did you get out of the vehicle? Through the rear hatch, or did you climb over the seat?
I climbed over.
And you said that you saw Mr. Desilva, Mr. Schneider, and Mr. Valle inspecting the car.
We all were, not just them. Like me, Keenan, and Will too.
So you got up off of the curb and went over to look at the car?
Yeah.
Okay. So now you are not just sitting on the curb with Mr. Frasick and Ms. Trafficanti and Mr. Sinchwald. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
You actually got up and went over to the car with those two folks.
Yeah, and we checked it out.
Okay. And you saw some dents and some scratches.
Yeah.
And you claim you heard Mr. Valle ask for a knife.
He did, yeah.
Where were you standing when that happened?
Near the rear of the car.
Near the rear of the car. Where was Mr. Valle when that happened?
Also, like, in the same area.
Near the rear of the car.
Yeah.
Where was Mr. Frasick when that happened?
Next to me.
Next to you.
Yeah.
And where was Mr. Sinchwald?
Also next to me.
Okay. And then you saw Mr. Valle go tearing through the glove box, right?
I never saw that, no.
You saw him go tearing through the console, right?
I never saw that, no.
You didn't see Mr. Valle go tearing through the glove box and the console?
I did
Objection.
not.
Looking for a knife?
Sustained.
Mr. Frasick was right beside you?
Correct.
And you said Mr. Valle was more upset than Jack.
Yeah.
Had you seen at any point in that evening Mr. Schneider with a knife?
I did not know.
And you can't remember Mr. Valle's exact words, but you said he was mad and he was yelling.
Yeah.
What was Mr. Schneider doing?
He was also very upset that his car had dents and scratches on it.
And what was Mr. Desilva doing?
I'm not sure. Yeah.
You didn't see a knife at any point?
No.
And you said you were down there for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Did you go back and sit on the curb?
Yeah.
How soon after you claimed to have heard Mr. Valle ask for the knife did you go sit on the curb?
After he asked, they went back and I sat there to wait.
Okay. And so you're sitting on the side of the curb when you see Mr. Desilva, Mr. Schneider, and Mr. Valle get back into the vehicle.
Correct, yeah.
It's still facing down towards Farmhouse Lane at that point.
Yeah.
Mr. Schneider got in the driver's side.
Correct.
Mr. Desilva got in the front passenger side.
I don't remember where you was sat at that point.
Do you remember where Mr. Valle got into the car?
No.
And did Mr. Frasick go back and sit down on the curb with you at that point?
Yeah.
So Mr. Frasick wasn't sitting on the curb the entire time. He came with you to where the car was to inspect it, and then he went back and he sat down on the curb.
We were all like around the car, yes. Then we sat down.
And you said you couldn't see where the car went, but it headed off in the direction of 43 Laurel Glenn.
Yeah. Yeah.
and that eventually the car returned, and you could see that Mr. Desilva was all beat up, right?
Correct, yeah.
He was bloody,
Yes.
and you said he could barely form words.
Yeah.
Could you see injuries to his body or his face?
His face was definitely swollen.
Any other injuries that you could see that were apparent?
No.
But just blood?
Yeah.
And you also told officers on May 16th that you could see a cut on Mr. Valle's head, correct?
I don't remember saying that now.
Do you recall in Madison's car seeing a cut on Mr. Valle's head?
I don't know.
You don't recall that?
I do not know.
You don't deny that you said that, you just don't recall it.
Yeah, right now I don't recall a cut on his face.
And you've told us here that you heard Lito asking if there was a knife. Do you recall telling officers when you were interviewed that you think somebody was asking for it? You think that was Lito?
No.
You're certain that that was him?
Yeah, for sure.
Then you told us that Mr. Valle got in the car with you into Madison Traficante's car, right?
Yeah.
And where was Mr. Valle sitting?
Behind the passenger seat,
And where were you sitting?
behind the driver's seat.
Okay, so you were sitting on opposite sides of the vehicle.
Correct.
And who was sitting in between you, if anyone?
Keenan
And where was Mackenzie?
in the passenger seat.
Okay. So in the back seat, it's you, Keenan, and then Mr. Valle.
Correct.
Did you get a good view of Mr. Valle?
Not really. It was dark.
Okay. Could you see when he got into the car whether or not he had any injuries?
No, he looked fine to me.
He looked fine to you.
Yeah.
Didn't appear to be bleeding.
No.
Didn't appear to be maybe not as battered as Mr. Desilva.
He was not. He was not like Tyler at all.
And on the way home, was it quiet in the car?
Yeah.
Nobody was talking?
Keenan just asked Lito what happened, and that's a.
Mr. Valle didn't respond?
He said.
Objection, calls for hearsay.
What the defendant said?
Yes, self-serving.
It's a statement of a party opponent, counsel.
What the
What
defendant
Mr.
said?
Valle said?
Beg your pardon, Your Honor?
What Mr. Valle said?
What the defendant said?
What the defendant said?
Yes.
Oh. So it's self-serving at this point.
Right.
So I'm going to sustain the objection. Thank you.
So you heard talking in the car.
Yeah.
You never saw a knife that evening, correct?
I did not know.
But you claim that you heard Ms. Valle asking for a knife.
Yes.
And who was he asking for a knife?
Jack.
Did you see Jack Schneider with a knife?
I did not.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Any redraft?
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. You'll do it. Exit the witness stand. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the jury, we are going to be adjourning in just a moment. Again, I'm going to remind you to abide by the rules of juror conduct that I've repeatedly gone through with you and described to you at the beginning of the trial and at the end of our last day of evidence. I just want to let you know that tomorrow We intend to have a half day of evidence, so you will come at your normal time, and we would be adjourning by 1 o'clock tomorrow, okay? Most likely before then, but by 1. So that would allow you to at least take a look at your schedules, and I told you I would continue to keep you apprised of any changes in our schedule. So there you have it, half day evidence tomorrow. Have a good night. We'll see you back tomorrow morning. Thank you. Court stands